Hello, I'm Andy Mack and welcome to Movie Shorts. Today we're looking at How to Make a Killing, directed by John Patton Ford and starring Glen Powell and Margaret Qualley. At first glance it looks like a dark comedy about ambition and greed, but it slowly turns into something a little stranger. A story about how far someone might go when they convince themselves the life they have simply isn't good enough.
Beckett?
No way.
So are you living in the city now?
Yeah, I do. A little outside of it.
The story follows Beckett Redfellow, a man who discovers he sits far down the line of succession to a wealthy family fortune. After reconnecting with Julia, someone he knew from childhood, Beckett begins to imagine a very different life for himself, one filled with the kind of comfort and privilege that always seemed just out of reach. One casual remark about eliminating the competition plants a dangerous idea. At first it feels almost like a joke, the kind of flippant comment people make without thinking too much about it.
Call me when you've killed them all.
But Beckett begins to dwell on it, and slowly, step by step, he starts to consider how far he might go to claim the inheritance he believes should have been his.
If I were to prune a few branches of the family tree, where would I start?
Who are you?
I'm Beckett.
Tonally, the film begins with real confidence. The early sections lean heavily into the dark comedy premise, and the absurdity of Beckett's thinking creates some genuinely funny moments. There's something quite compelling about watching a character slowly rationalise decisions that any reasonable person would recognise as disastrous. Zach Woods, playing one of Beckett's many cousins, provides some of the film's best comic timing and brings a welcome energy whenever he appears. And Glen Powell plays Beckett with a mixture of charm and calculation that keeps the character interesting to watch. He's not entirely sympathetic, but he's engaging enough that you're curious to see just how far this story will go.
I have proof. I'm really happy I went with black and white.
The problem is that around the halfway mark, the film begins to shift. The humour gradually fades and the story becomes more of a straight thriller. That change in tone isn't necessarily a bad idea in itself, but once the laughs disappear, the film struggles to replace them with a new kind of tension. Instead of building momentum, the story begins to feel slightly heavier and less playful. Margaret Qualley's character Julia actually becomes more interesting as the film progresses, while Beckett himself starts to feel less compelling. And the final confrontation involving Ed Harris arrives so quickly that it never quite delivers the payoff the film seems to promise.
I'm with the FBI. How you doing?
Great.
There's a clever idea at the centre of How to Make a Killing, and the early sections show real promise. For a while, it feels like the film has found a sharp and slightly wicked tone that could carry the whole story. But as the tone shifts and the humour fades, the film loses some of the momentum that made it enjoyable in the first place. It's still watchable and there are moments that work very well, but it never quite becomes the dark comedy it seems capable of being.
As the Bible says, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Does the Bible say that?
No.
Oh.
So, my final 3-word verdict for How to Make a Killing are promising, uneven, but frustrating. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and thank you for watching Movie Shorts. Until next time, goodbye.